In the first video, I told you about the stream of the truth. Starting from the step to enter the stream of the truth, the spiritual stage goes up to the result of entering the stream of the truth, the step to come once, the result of coming once, the step of non-return, the result of not returning, the step of arhat, the result of arhat. After the result of arhat, there will be the perfection of Raja Yoga, the perfection of Kundalini Yoga, and then, the perfection of Jainana Yoga. After the perfection of Jainana Yoga comes Mahayana Yoga, Astral Yoga, and Causal Yoga, and in the end comes the perfection of Mahayana Buddha. This is the ultimate enlightenment. Beware of false enlightened one. By the way, it is very difficult to judge by oneself whether one had attained enlightenment or self-realization. M, B, and U told you, I am not sure whether I had attained self-realization or not. I think this is their honest opinion because only Guru can judge the attainment. In other words, only the Guru who had attained the highest state can correctly understand the state of the people who comes after him. I am sure there will be many falsely enlightened people in the future. Since I am showing people what is known as the secret teaching to my disciples, there will be people who read them, copy them, and say, I have obtained this teaching. So you should be very careful. I have to tell you why Samadhi can be the proof of enlightenment. Samadhi indicates the ultimate state of meditation. In Samadhi, the true self, soul, detaches from the physical body, and the breath is stopped. The stop of the breath can clearly be understood when the air is tightened in underwater or underground. I think this is the most dramatic and effective way to show the existence of Samadhi. Watching the three gunas by the body of essence, the attainment of Raja Yoga. Let's talk about attainment. The attainment of Raja Yoga is the basement. This is the first attainment. The attainer of Raja Yoga sees three gunas at the time of attainment. Three gunas are the fundamental energies for the creation of the universe, which consist of rajas, the active energy, tamas, the dark energy, and sattva, the virtuous energy. The attainer sees them not with his physical eyes but with the eyes of the body of essence. The body of essence is the body that activates in the pure causal world. After the attainment of Raja Yoga, the process of Kundalini Yoga is waiting. There is a long way to go to attain the ultimate enlightenment. Knowing three worlds, the attainment of Kundalini Yoga. Let me go on to Kundalini Yoga, which comes after the attainment of Raja Yoga. When we practice Kundalini Yoga, with the rise of the energy of Kundalini we begin to experience the astral world and the causal world, though the dimension of these worlds is low compared to the world which we experience in astral yoga or causal yoga. Do you know the Book of the Dead? Do you know the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or the Egyptian Book of the Dead? It's all right even if you haven't read them yet, since there are a lot of misinterpretations in those books. But there are some parts in those books which is the truth. M had experienced the true parts of those books. Let me introduce you to a part of his experience. His body of manifestation detaches from his physical body and goes into the darkness. The body of manifestation is another self that activates in the astral world. When the true self gets onto this body, it begins to activate. As this body of manifestation rises, one can reach heaven. On the contrary, if it goes down, one falls to hell. This can go to various places. As the body of manifestation detaches from the physical body, activates, and experiences various things, one understands that life in this world is only a part of our lives. In other words, one recognizes that there are three types of lives in this world: the astral world, the causal world, and this world. The perfection of Kundalini Yoga means realizing this fact. Those who had attained this level can freely go to the astral world or the causal world with the energy of Kundalini. However, if he loses his energy, he is only a man who wishes to commit suicide. He wants to die because the Kundalini for them is not only the energy to develop their spirituality but also the life energy for them to live in this world as well as in the astral world. However, when he loses his energy, He thinks of throwing away his physical body. In other words, he would like to die, go to the astral world, and live there with pleasure. That is why the desire to commit suicide occurs. But even if one can live happily in the astral world, it is not good to stop one's spiritual practice by committing suicide, because the perfection of Kundalini Yoga is only the stage on its way to attaining Mahayana. I often say, you should not leak sexual energy if your Kundalini was awakened, because it is necessary to prevent the loss of the energy of Kundalini. The source of Kundalini is sexual energy. To cut off the reason for suffering, the attainment of Jainana Yoga. After the attainment and the perfection of Kundalini Yoga, I told you that Jainana Yoga will come. M might soon obtain self-realization, which is the attainment of Jainana Yoga. K, as well as B, also have a chance. Some of you may not understand the attainment of Kundalini Yoga. The attainment means that they qualified for the perfection of Kundalini Yoga. It is not perfection. It takes time from attainment to perfection. So one should keep practicing after the attainment to make perfection. But one can go into the process of Jainana Yoga while doing the practice to make the perfection of Kundalini Yoga. So it is natural that their attainment of Jainana Yoga is close. Now, let me briefly tell you about the self-realization they may attain soon. It is to notice, everything is the succession of reason and result. And when one could see through the reason and result of suffering, and could completely shut off the reason, it is the attainment of Jainana Yoga. B, though she hasn't attained Jainana Yoga yet, said, the reason creates the result. The mind becomes lighter if they are washed off. The attainment of Jainana Yoga is the state in which one can immediately change one's mind by solving every problem at once. The mind of equality which is cultivated by Jainana Yoga. After the attainment, the mind of equality will be cultivated on its way to the perfection of Jainana Yoga. This mind of equality will be the basement of Mahayana Yoga, which comes afterward. I need to explain how the mind of equality is cultivated. Let's take a simple example of the affection between parents and children. Here is a father. He loves his son. Let's say that only his son was important to him. In this situation, other kids don't matter to him. No matter if other children may cry or get injured, he is not interested in them. This is the typical case of partial love or love without the mind of equality. However, let's say that this son was not his real son, though this father didn't know about it. In other words, let's say that this son was the son of the mother's boyfriend. And let's say that this man was the person which this father mostly hates. What he is doing is giving love as a father to the child of a man who he mostly hates. I heard that there are many cases as such. One gynecologist told me that there are not a few babies with the blood type which is impossible from the blood type of the official parents. Let's go back to the main story. It is not the truth if a person loved his son believing that he is his real son of his. Because the truth is something that can never change in any condition. In this case, the hatred toward this son may occur when the father recognizes that he is not his real son. But if we look into this son himself, he didn't change at all. Only the condition made the change to the emotion of the father. In Jainana Yoga, one recognizes that we are controlled by conditions. And he can cut off the karma to be controlled by conditions. And when he could cut off the condition, he can see people equally. This is the perfection of the mind of equality. The perfection of the mind of Buddha, the attainment of Mahayana Yoga. As I had mentioned, one goes on to Mahayana Yoga based on the mind of equality. Such changes may occur at the time of this yoga. He can respond to the working of the mind of everyone. For example, if another has sexual desire, he will also feel sexual desire. If another has sorrow, he will also feel sorrow. If another has pleasure, he will also feel pleasure. If another has pain, they will also feel pain. When a person comes to this state, he is very close to the attainment of Mahayana Yoga. I said, close, because some people lose this chance of the attainment being caught in others' emotions. For example, Even though one is only responding to another's sexual desire, he may misunderstand that it is his desire, and come to its act. Or by misunderstanding another's suffering as his suffering, he may keep suffering even after this suffering person went away. However, such things disappear when he could get this attainment. He will be able to understand, this is not my suffering, or, this is not my sorrow. Though he corresponds to others as if he is equal to others. If he goes on with his practice, in the end, he understands one thing. No matter if it is the other's suffering or the suffering which occurred within himself, this suffering is not mine. It is the perfection of Mahayana Yoga when one could correspond with various people, give kindness to various people, and realize that the suffering in this life is not the suffering of oneself. This is equal to the perfection of the mind of Buddha. From astral yoga to Mahayana. Next, one goes on to astral yoga. He uses his power of will to clarify the world of the image called the astral world. If he succeeds in this, he goes on to causal yoga. The perfection of causal yoga is true enlightenment. This is the entrance for Mahayana. In the end, comes Mahayana, or the ultimate enlightenment. Wonderful karma to select one out of two. There will be a long way for you to go. At least you are not in the state of the person who is trying to enter the stream of the truth. You are already trying to practice as a spiritual practitioner. If you want to attain enlightenment in this life, you should become a true spiritual practitioner as soon as possible. If you haven't thought about practicing as such, you should practice as lay practitioners, the people who support the truth. You should reincarnate into the fourth heaven by accumulating a great amount of merit. You have the wonderful karma to select one out of these two paths. It is up to you, you may decide. This is not a commercial project. For as many people as possible to come across this information, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment of 8 words or more.